Hello everybody, K-Whip here, and welcome to another Destiny 2 video. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing another new weapon. This time, it is the Outlast Legendary Pulse Rifle. And if you're wondering where you get this weapon, I personally got mine from doing the Reckoning Tier 2 and finishing that completely. And I'm not sure how else you can get the weapon, so if you got it in a different manner, please drop that in the comment section down below so people know exactly how to get it. Now that we've said that, let's take a look at the roll on my weapon. And it's not a spectacular one, it's pretty mediocre. We've got Snapshot Sights, not Snapshot Sights, but Snapshot Sights. It's going to be aiming down a bit faster, not the greatest perk for a pulse rifle, you can definitely get better things. Full auto, kind of same thing to say about that. It's maybe slightly convenient to have, but you can definitely get better perks. Then we have Tactical Mag or Alloy Magazine. Going to a Tactical Mag for that bump in stability, and also the increased magazine size is nice. Because with this thing's rate of fire, 33 is a kind of a small magazine size, especially with how other pulse rifles like the Bygones has 39, even though it actually fires slower than this archetype. But whatever, that's just a weird balancing thing that they've done. And finally, I'm going with the small bore instead of extended barrel because I'm looking to get as much stability as I can on this thing, because it's kind of a constant struggle with this archetype in keeping the recoil under control, and you really want to be speccing for stability with these types of pulse rifles. Then we have a reload masterwork, not something I'm going to max out on this weapon, and that's everything to say about this roll. To talk about the gun a bit, it's in the 540 RPM archetype, which I don't think I've even mentioned yet, and that puts it at the fastest rate of fire for pulse rifles, which is a pretty good archetype. I wouldn't say it's among the best. I'd actually put it in the kind of the bottom half of pulse rifles. But that being said, I think that all pulse rifles are pretty usable in the Crucible right now and aren't too bad. But some nice things about this gun specifically, the scope seems really nice. Also bonus points for being fairly aesthetically pleasing. And I also think that the Outlast has pretty high base stability for this archetype, at least comparing it to both my rolls of my Claws of the Wolf. It looked like the stability was going to be higher and the range was going to be lower generally compared to the Claws of the Wolf when they have pretty similar perks. And so even though you kind of want that range, having the extra stability is pretty nice. Because even though the recoil isn't crazy on these things, it's something you kind of always have to pay attention to, because it can get out of hand if you're not kind of always pulling down a little bit. And now let's talk about how it competes against other weapons. Well, in close to medium range, it's going to be outshined by hand cannons, especially in the 180 archetype. Their combination of a quick time to kill and lots of flinch makes it a tough 1v1 for the Outlast, and they're typically going to have the advantage in those close ranges. Then once you go to medium range, other pulse rifles are going to be a bit better than this typically, I think. Especially because the range isn't all that strong. So once you try a challenge in kind of extended mid-range, this thing will kind of struggle against other pulse rifles like the Bygones or the Blast Furnace. In between those two kind of ranges is probably its sweet spot, kind of the closer end of mid-range. And that's when you're going to want to take the most gunfights and where it'll be most ideal. But that's a pretty limited range, and I don't feel super confident with this gun in a lot of gunfights, and it feels like there's just a lot out there that is stronger in most scenarios. And then for the last thing to cover, how does it compare against the top tier weapons of the game, aka Luna's Howl? Well,
I am one impressive player.
yeah, about what you'd expect. It gets pummeled a little bit. Like I said, 180s do really well against it, and that's like the best 180 outside of Not Forgotten, so it's gonna struggle there. And that's gonna be everything I have to say about the Outlast. I hope you enjoyed, thank you for watching, and see you later.